Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, is the day marked on the calendar each year that we remember the soldiers who died fighting for and defending the modern state of Israel. And it's the day that we remember the civilians who died in acts of terror here in Israel. It's a day where the military cemeteries are filled with family, friends, loved ones standing around the grave sites of their loved ones, of the soldiers who died, telling the stories, remembering the lives lived and the lives lost. Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, every year is a very somber, emotional day because every family knows someone who died fighting for the land of Israel. But this year, Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day, takes on a very different flavor because we're in the midst of a war right now. And to a certain extent, since October 7th, every day has been a Memorial Day. Every day we sadly wake up to the news of fallen soldiers. We go to the cemetery, we mourn the loss of holy people who died fighting for the Jewish right to be in our homeland. So how do we really commemorate Memorial Day this year in the midst of a war? And I think it becomes more clear when you come to the military cemetery. Because here in the military cemetery, you see the graves of soldiers who died on October 7th, November, December, January, February, March of this year, and it's devastating. But you notice that they're buried next to soldiers who died in the previous wars. Soldiers who died in Lebanon, who died in Gaza, who died in the Yom Kippur War, who died in the Six-Day War, who died in the War of 1948. And you understand that the war that we are fighting right now is not a new war. There's no such thing as the Simchat Torah War, the October 7th War. It is a continuation of all previous battles and conflicts of wars of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. And that these precious souls who gave their lives, and we have to talk about them, we have to share their stories. Their story is similar to the stories of their parents and of their grandparents. This is what it means to be a Jew. This is what it means to be a Jew in the state of Israel. To fight for being here and to remember those who have fallen. Much ink has been spilled over the similarities and the differences between Holocaust Remembrance Day and Israel Memorial Day. Holocaust remembrance is very much about listening to the stories of the previous generations. Yom HaZikaron, on the day that we commemorate the fallen soldiers, we're not listening to the elders, but we're listening to our youth. When you come here to the cemetery and you see these graves and you see how old these people were, they're 18, they're 19, they're 20. Young kids, boys and girls, lost their lives. We must tell their stories. We must make sure that they did not die in vain. This youth is the generation that has fought in this war, and it's the generation that is going to allow us to ultimately be victorious. And so on Yom HaZikaron, today's Israel Memorial Day, we here at IDSF thought it would be meaningful to bring you the story of a youth, of a boy who died in this conflict here in Israel, in this war, who died in Kfar Aza. And his story is one of many stories of people who died fighting for the land of Israel. It is the story not just of ancient past, it's not the story of our elders, but it is the story of our youth. Ofer, thank you for sitting with me today. We're here to talk about you, about your son, and about the great loss. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you to start with?
So I'm 68 years old, going to the ninth, and I'm born in Jerusalem. Served in the army as a paratrooper, joined Kibbutz Daboker. I've been a member for 25 years. Later on, my wife get a job as a counselor at Shara Negev municipality, and I start to work for the Jewish agency. For a long time, I was working with the Ethiopian immigration, and later on, I was the head of the South region of the Ethiopian project. Later on, as the escalations and the bombs and the rockets start, we start to run the Victor Terror Fund. I was the head of the Victor Terror Fund in our area for a long time.
Explain to me what does that mean? What is the Victim of Terror Fund?
The Jewish diaspora decided on $1,000 as amount for a family that has been injured for a very basic, or the house, or the car, or the person.
And all these years, you've been helping victims.
Right.
And now after October 7th,
I become a victim. Can you imagine? That me and my family get this $1,000 from the Jewish diaspora. Never in my life I can imagine that the story will turn like this, that I will be the victim after I have helped thousands of people.
tell me about your son.
While Aviv was around 16, 17, he started to work at the company that's called Syncopa at Kibbutz Kfar Aza. So he was giving lights and audio, and he joined the army, the same unit that his mother and me. He and his brother, in a year and a half between them, the same unit. After he finished his service, he came back to the company, worked there. He was extremely good on lighting, and one of the days, every leader have seen him and asked him to be his backlight. So for a time he was the backlight of every leader. And after a time, Ivry has seen the diamonds that he got in his hands, and he became his stage managers for 10 years. They worked together. Aviv was professional in his job. In the last months, he joined Hanan Ben Ari, and who was his technical manager, which is one step higher. In the 7th, at around 6 o'clock in the morning, when the first gliders came above Kfar Aza, ring phone woke him up. It was the head of the security of the kibbutz, Shachar, that said, quickly down to the ammunition room. After a few seconds, the head of the first defenders, Tal, said, everyone quickly down, arm yourselves, and wait to orders. Aviv has done his way on his motorbike with a friend. He was able to send a few messages to his wife and to his mother and save the life on the way that he was riding his motorbike. He was multi-technical, doing million things on once. He came to the ammunition room. He armed himself with a friend and another one that was on the back with his motorbike, and another one. They started to fight and to answer to those monsters that shoot on them. He heard from the balcony above some Arab speakers That's the house of Tal, the head of the first defenders. He went up. He and his colleagues killed the terrorists. And he saved the life of the wives and the kids there. He came back to the ammunition room and they start to speak what we are doing, and he said, we have the three injured, we have to take care of them. And they said, Aviv, you can't go. Fire for Aviv. And he said, we have to see if we can do something. And he ran straight away. He had been injured. He fell down. He succeeded to call Heli, his wife, and said, Heli, I'm injured. And she asked him to try to move. He told her that I'm moving close to the olive tree. But it wasn't the olive tree that you can hide, maybe your arm or your legs. He was doing the something that just heroes can do. He opened his mobile phone and he called the wife of one of the injured and made connection between them so she can hear the last words of her husband. After a short time, one of the group came and asked and told Aviv, I'm coming to help you. And Aviv said, no way, they're shooting for everywhere. Don't even think about coming close. And he didn't. After a time, we've heard from those that survived. The first defenders are 14. 7 have been killed. So we heard from one of the survivors that he has seen something black in the air that's fall next to Avi, Nadav, and Aviv. Explode. Heli got a message from Aviv. I love you all. Those were the last words.
How do you think you'd want to be remembered?
I don't think I know how he will be remembered. Unique. You know, everyone is unique in his way. But Aviv was full with love. He was a man of friends. You are lucky if you have been one of his friends. We were thinking about the minutes that Aviv have to think if to go in or not. And if he wouldn't have gone, he will not. He will get crazy that he didn't. Aviv have done in his last minutes what he is, help people.
Have there been any stories that came out, his friends being such a friendly guy? Any stories you didn't know about?
You know, Aviv died in Simchat Torah. At Sukkot, 3 days before, Hanan Ben Ari have a concert. And Aviv, on the walk, have seen Hanan and his guitar man speaking between them. Something was strange for him, so he came and he asked him, "What is the story? What you are in between?" Both of them are religious persons, and as you know, at Sukkot you have to eat at the sukkah. So he said, "We are hungry, but there isn't sukkah." So he said, "What is the problem?" So they said, "There isn't sukkah." So you know what happened after 5 minutes? There was a sukkah. I didn't meet until those days Hanan. They worked together for a few months. But he shared with us. And he told us, I'm in the business 8 years. I've changed technical managers many. Those 4 months that I worked with Aviv was the first 4 months in those 8 years that I'm sleeping at night and I know that everything will be okay on the stage.
מתכסה ברחמים, מוכן וסולח, מביט ויודע, ומי ירפא ליבי.
We remember today 25,000 men, women, and children that were killed in terrorist attacks and in the defense of the land of Israel, including 1,500 since October 7th. Among them are Tchelet Fishbein Zaharur, Gidon Ariel Rivlin, Neta Epstein, Yiftach Kutz, Livnat Kutz, Noam Avramovich, Ariel Ochana, Amir Eyal, Eden Alon Levi, Roni Eshel, Avivi Baram, Eden Alon Levi, Eran Aloni, Ariel Eliyahu, Yehi Zichram Baruch. May their memories be for a blessing.